Hey there, science enthusiasts. Welcome back to our series on the history and future of everything quantum related. Today, we're diving into part 7 of this exploration, where we'll delve deeper into both the history and future of everything quantum related.
Neural circuitry, a topic that has intrigued scientists and researchers for centuries. So, let's kick off our journey with a brief overview of its development. First, let's talk about the early theories and discoveries spanning from ancient times to the 19th century. Did you know that the ancient Egyptians, around 1600 BCE, recognized the brain's significance? They even believed that the heart was the center of human thought and emotions. Moving forward, the Greeks made significant strides in understanding the brain's functions. They believed that the brain was responsible for mental processes and emotions. Fast forward to the 19th century, and we see a shift in understanding. Scientists began to focus on the physical structure of the brain, specifically how neurons were interconnected to process and transmit information. This concept has evolved significantly over the years, from early anatomical observations to modern advances in neuroscience and technology. The study of neural circuitry has progressed from early anatomical observations to a deep understanding of how neurons connect and communicate through electrical and chemical signals. Advances in neuroscience, from the discovery of the neuron doctrine to modern brain mapping techniques, have allowed scientists to uncover the complex networks that underlie cognition, perception, and behavior. Today, this knowledge not only deepens our understanding of the brain, but also drives innovations in artificial intelligence, medicine, and technology. Did you know that while science fiction has undoubtedly inspired and predicted real-world advancements, the majority of its concepts remain speculative? A rough estimate suggests that around 10 to 20% of science fiction concepts have been realized, while the rest either remain in the realm of imagination or reflect ideas that are yet to be or may never be achieved. Novels like Jules Verne's From the Earth to the Moon 1865 imagined space travel long before it became a reality, with the first moon landing in 1969. Isaac Asimov's works in the mid-20th century envisioned robots with artificial intelligence, a field now actively pursued. Mobile communication devices, the communicators from Star Trek 1960s, resemble Modesian's fiction, has anticipated many technological and scientific advancements. A few notable examples of concepts imagined in science fiction that became reality include: the idea of immersive virtual worlds can be found in William Gibson's Neuromancer 1984 and has since become a developing field with VR and AR technologies. Genetic engineering, ideas of human modification and cloning, seen in novels like Aldous Huxley's Brave New World 1932, are now partially realized through advances in genetic editing technologies like CRISPR. However, many aspects of science fiction have not yet become reality or may never be realized, such as faster-than-light travel, time travel, and extraterrestrial civilizations. Science fiction spans a vast range of subgenres, from hard science fiction based on plausible scientific principles to speculative fiction, which may stretch or disregard current scientific understanding. Some works, particularly those grounded in plausible future scenarios, are more likely to see their predictions realized. For example, authors like Arthur C. Clarke and Kim Stanley Robinson base their works on plausible scientific advancements. Clarke's idea of geostationary satellites, which became a reality, is one example. Since the genre's formalization in the 19th and early 20th centuries, significant scientific progress has occurred. Advances that surpassed imagination, many real-world technologies such as the Internet, quantum computing, and advanced medical imaging were not widely predicted by early science fiction. In some cases, reality has exceeded science fiction's early visions. Unrealized predictions, some recurring themes in early science fiction, like flying cars, humanoid robots living alongside humans, and colonization of other planets, remain largely unrealized. But fear not, science fiction continues to push the boundaries of what is possible, serving as both a mirror for current science and an inspiration for what's to come. So let's keep exploring and dreaming big, because who knows what the future holds. The butterfly effect is a concept from chaos theory that describes how small changes in a system can lead to vastly different outcomes. It's most commonly associated with meteorology and the work of mathematician and meteorologist Edward Lorenz, who discovered the principle in the early 1960s. Lorenz presented his findings in a 1970 paper titled Predictability: Does the Flap of a Butterfly's Wings in Brazil Set Off a Tornado in Texas? The title was meant to highlight how minor events, such as a butterfly flapping its wings, could theoretically cause a chain of events leading to large-scale phenomena like a tornado. The metaphor of the butterfly flap became a symbol for the sensitivity of complex systems to initial conditions, and the butterfly effect was born. Before the butterfly effect was formally articulated, the idea that small changes in initial conditions could lead to vastly different outcomes was already being explored. For instance, in the 19th century, mathematician Henry Poincare studied the three-body problem and found that small changes in the initial conditions could result in completely different orbits. The Greek historian Polybius year 100 to 118 BC wrote about how minor events could lead to significant outcomes in history. The butterfly effect has since become a popular concept in popular culture, often used to describe how small changes in our lives can lead to significant consequences. Did you know that the concept of determinism is deeply intertwined with the broader development of philosophy, science, and mathematics? Deterministic systems are those where future states are completely determined by initial conditions and the rules governing their evolution. In these systems, there's no randomness or uncertainty about future outcomes. The concept of determinism has evolved over time, influencing fields such as physics, mathematics, and philosophy. Micromanagement might be interpreted as evidence that some form of determinism is at play, where external forces or systems, whether people or rules, dictate the available options. This might lead to the feeling that free will is an illusion if every action is being monitored and controlled. However, this is more about situational constraints than the philosophical argument about free will itself. The history of deterministic systems reflects humanity's ongoing effort to understand whether the universe operates by fixed, predictable laws or whether uncertainty and randomness are fundamental. From ancient philosophical ideas to the latest scientific theories, the evolution of determinism has shaped how we understand the physical world and our place within it. Determinism remains a central concept in physics, philosophy, and computer science, though it is now viewed with more nuance due to discoveries like quantum mechanics and chaos theory.
Genetic determinism is the belief that an organism's genes control or strongly influence its traits, behaviors, and destiny, leaving little room for environmental or other factors. This idea has a long and complicated history, blending biology, genetics, philosophy, and social theory. Over time, the concept has evolved from early scientific speculations to more refined understandings in modern biology. Yet, it remains a contentious issue, particularly regarding its implications for human nature. So, what do you think? Do you believe in genetic determinism? Or do you think environmental factors play a more significant role in shaping our traits and behaviors? Let us know in the comments below.
This concept has been a central debate for millennia, touching on questions of morality, responsibility, and human nature. The idea of free will has evolved significantly over time, reflecting shifts in metaphysical, theological, and scientific perspectives. Let's take a journey back in time to the ancient Greek thinkers who laid the foundations for this intriguing discussion. In ancient Greece, early philosophers like Socrates and Plato pondered the concept of free will. They believed that humans had the capacity to make choices that were not determined by external forces, and this idea continued to evolve through the works of Aristotle and the Stoics. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and we see the Christian theologians debating the role of free will in salvation. The idea of human responsibility and moral accountability was a central theme in this period. In the modern era, the concept of free will has been explored by scientists, philosophers, and theologians alike. It's a topic that continues to fascinate and challenge us today. Did you know that the scientific study of the nervous system, neuroscience, has its roots in ancient philosophical inquiry? It's a long and complex journey that spans centuries, from ancient Egypt to modern times. Ancient Egypt, around 1700 BC, marked the beginning of this journey with the Edwin Smith Papyrus. This ancient Egyptian medical text provided one of the earliest descriptions of the brain and its functions. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and we see the emergence of anatomical discoveries which laid the groundwork for our modern understanding of the nervous system. Finally, we arrive at the modern era where experimental breakthroughs have revolutionized our understanding of the brain and its role in shaping behavior, perception, and consciousness. It's truly remarkable how far we've come in our understanding of the human brain, and we're still learning more every day. Did you know that for centuries, the brain was thought to be a rigid, unchanging organ? It wasn't until the early 20th century that scientists began to challenge this notion. The concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, was first proposed by Canadian psychologist Donald Hebb in 1949. However, Hebb's ideas faced opposition from some of his contemporaries who believed that the brain was a fixed organ. It wasn't until the 1960s that neuroplasticity began to gain widespread acceptance. Ancient philosophers like Aristotle and René Descartes had some interesting ideas about the brain's function. Aristotle, for instance, believed that the brain was a cooling system for the body, while Descartes saw it as a center for emotions and passions. These early ideas paved the way for our modern understanding of the brain's plasticity. Today, we know that the brain is capable of change throughout life, and this concept has profound implications for our understanding of learning, memory, and even mental health. So, the next time you hear about neuroplasticity, remember that it's a fascinating journey that has taken us from ancient philosophers to modern neuroscience. Did you know that the history of mythology spans thousands of years and touches nearly every culture around the globe? Myths were one of the earliest forms of storytelling used by ancient peoples to explain natural phenomena, the origins of the world, and their place within it. Mythology often served religious, social, and political functions, helping to shape cultural identities and provide moral lessons. Now, let's take a journey through time and explore the history of mythology. From its ancient origins to its influence on modern culture, we'll uncover the stories, characters, and themes that have shaped our understanding of the world and our place. Curses have been a part of human belief systems for thousands of years, intertwined with mythology, religion, superstition, and folklore. They often represent the darker side of human belief systems, where individuals or deities invoke supernatural powers to bring misfortune, suffering, or even death to others. Curses could be placed for various reasons, ranging from retribution for wrongdoing to mere jealousy or spite. Let's take a look at some examples from different times and cultures. 1. Ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians believed in the power of curses, often placing them on tombs to protect the deceased from theft or harm. 2. Ancient Greece. In Greek mythology, the gods and goddesses were known to place curses on mortals, often as a form of punishment or retribution. 3. Medieval Europe. During the Middle Ages, curses were a common form of superstition, often used as a means to ward off evil spirits or protect against harm. 4. African traditional religion. In some African traditional religions, curses are seen as a form of spiritual retribution, often placed by priests or shamans. 5. Modern times. While curses are less common in modern times, they still exist in various forms, such as hexes, voodoo curses, or even the practice of the evil eye. That's it for today's history lesson, folks. Remember, curses are a fascinating part of human history, but they should never be used to harm others. Mutual dreaming, a phenomenon where two or more people share the same dream experience simultaneously. This intriguing idea has a rich and varied history across cultures, mythology, and modern psychology. In ancient civilizations, dreams were often seen as a way for the gods to communicate with humans. In some cultures, dreams were believed to be a way for people to connect on a deeper level, even if they were separated by great distances. In Greek mythology, the god of sleep, Hypnos, was said to have the power to send people into a shared dream state. In Norse mythology, the god Odin was known for his ability to enter into the dreams of others and influence their actions. In modern psychology, the concept of mutual dreaming has been explored, but there is no scientific consensus that it is possible. However, the idea continues to fascinate us and has even inspired popular culture, such as the film Inception. So, there you have it, folks. The fascinating history and cultural significance of mutual dreaming. Did you know that the history of fintech spans centuries, beginning with innovations in financial tools and practices? Let's take a journey through time and explore the development of fintech across key historical periods. First up, we have the early beginnings of fintech, or the pre-20th century. This is when we see the rise of ancient financial tools. These rudimentary technologies were used by ancient civilizations to manage their finances. Moving on to the 20th century, we witness a surge in financial technologies. This era saw the introduction of credit cards, ATMs, and online banking. The 21st century has seen a massive acceleration in fintech with the rise of digital technologies. We now have mobile banking, cryptocurrencies, and even robo-advisors. Did you know that the history of cybersecurity parallels the growth and development of computers and the internet? As digital technologies evolved, so too did the need to protect information, networks, and systems from various threats. So, let's take a broad overview of the key milestones in the history of cybersecurity. In the 1940s and 1960s, we witnessed the birth of computers. Cybersecurity's roots can be traced back to the early days of computing during and after World War II. Early computers like the ENIAC played a crucial role in the development of cybersecurity. In the 1970s, the Internet was born, and with it came the rise of cyber threats. The 1980s saw the introduction of personal computers and the proliferation of viruses. The 1990s marked the emergence of the World Wide Web and the rise of cybercrime. In the 2000s, we saw the development of cloud computing and the growth of cyber espionage. And in the 2010s, we're currently witnessing the evolution of cyber warfare. That's a brief overview of the history of cybersecurity. It's a fascinating topic, and we hope you enjoyed this glimpse into it.
Specifically, we're going to explore the history of phishing, a form of cybercrime that has paralleled the growth of the internet and digital communication. So, let's get started. In the 1990s, as the internet became more widely accessible, cybercrime began to emerge. One of the earliest forms of cybercrime was phishing, where attackers would trick individuals into providing sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, or credit card details. These early internet scams laid the foundation for the sophisticated, targeted attacks we see today. As the internet evolved, so did phishing. In the early 2000s, phishing scams became more sophisticated, using social engineering techniques to trick users into revealing sensitive information. By the mid-2000s, phishing had become a significant problem, with millions of users falling victim to these scams. In the 2010s, phishing evolved once again, with attackers using more advanced techniques to target specific individuals or organizations. Today, phishing is a major threat to online security, and it's essential for all of us to stay vigilant and protect our personal information. That's it for today's history lesson on phishing.
From the early days of computer experimentation to modern cybercrime, hacking has come a long way. So, let's dive right in. In the 1960s and 1970s, the term hacker was coined at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. These early hackers were a group of tech-savvy individuals who loved to explore and experiment with computers. They were often referred to as wizards or whizzes and were known for their playful exploration of computer systems. As technology advanced, so did the hacker culture. In the 1980s and 1990s, hackers became more organized and started to share their knowledge and skills online. This led to the rise of cyber culture, where hackers were seen as both heroes and villains. Today, hacking has evolved into a complex mix of activism, criminality, and innovation. While some hackers still engage in playful exploration, others use their skills for more nefarious purposes.
Did you know that the history of data brokers is closely tied to the evolution of data collection, marketing, and the rise of the digital economy? Data brokers are companies or entities that collect, process, and sell information about individuals, typically without their direct knowledge. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. In the early 20th century, the origins of data brokers can be traced back to direct marketing and mailing lists long before the internet came into the picture. These companies collected and sold information about individuals, such as their addresses and demographic data, to help businesses target their marketing efforts. As technology advanced, data brokers adapted to the digital age, using the internet to collect and process even more information about individuals. Today, they're a significant part of the modern digital landscape, playing a crucial role in shaping the way we interact with the internet and each other.
Did you know that the concept has evolved significantly over time, moving from the traditional view that the brain was a static organ to the now widely accepted understanding that it can change and adapt throughout life? Let's take a trip down memory lane and explore the history of neuroplasticity. In the 19th century, scientists believed that the brain was fixed and immutable after a certain age. This belief was influenced by the theory of phrenology, which claimed that the brain's structure determined a person's personality and abilities. Fast forward to the 20th century, and the concept of neuroplasticity started to gain traction. Researchers began to understand that the brain was not a static organ, but rather it could change and adapt throughout life. This groundbreaking discovery paved the way for our current understanding of neuroplasticity. So, there you have it, folks. The fascinating journey of neuroplasticity, from the static brain of the 19th century to the adaptable brain of today. If pyramids were to be built in the future, where might they be located? Well, let's dive right in. Imagine a future where pyramids are built once again. The likely locations would depend on various factors such as technological advancements, cultural significance, environmental considerations, and symbolic value. Here are a few possible scenarios. New pyramids could be constructed in major cities or regions that aim to create iconic structures, similar to how modern cities build skyscrapers or other symbolic buildings. For example, pyramids might be built in major cities to represent their cultural significance or to serve as a symbol of their history. Pyramids might be built in regions with sustainable resources, such as areas with abundant sunshine or areas with unique geological features that could be utilized in their construction. In the future, pyramids could be built using advanced technologies such as 3D printing or other cutting-edge construction methods. These high-tech pyramids might be located in areas with access to these technologies. Pyramids might be built in areas with historical significance, such as the site of ancient pyramids, or in regions with a rich history of pyramid building. They could arise in technologically advanced cities, extraterrestrial colonies, eco-friendly spaces, or even within virtual environments. The role of pyramids in the future will likely reflect humanity's evolving needs, whether as cultural symbols, innovative structures, or markers of exploration. So, there you have it. If pyramids were to be built in the future, these are just a few of the possible locations we might see them. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to follow and subscribe for more fascinating discussions like this one. Until next time, keep your minds open to the possibilities.